In the early hours of January 14, 2020 at around 3 a.m., a woman's desperate screams shattered the silence of the night in a deserted corridor of an apartment block. Flat number 738, rented by a young couple, has now become a place of nightmares. The woman's cries were so piercing that 15 apartment residents gathered in the hallway, desperate to help, but the apartment had a metal door separating them from the horror inside. "Help me! He's going to kill me!" the woman screamed from inside. Heart-pounding neighbors tried to call the police. Over the course of 3.5 hours, 7 frantic calls flooded the police station, but no police arrived. These calls later became part of a separate investigation into a case that caused huge national outrage in Russia. Previously, please subscribe and turn on the bell to find out about criminal cases that occur in various countries. Vera Pekhteleva was born on September 24, 1997 in the city of Kiselyovsk in the Kemerovo Oblast region, Russia. Vera is known for her gentle nature. From a young age, she showed talent in writing and singing. She took vocal courses, participated in regional competitions, and won. Her family expected her to pursue a career in art, but she chose a different path. After graduating from high school, Vera chose to study economic security because she wanted to fight corruption. Vera's parents, Oksana and Evgeny Pekhteleva, had separated when she was a child. But both remained committed to raising her with love. Even after Evgeny remarried, Vera was treated as part of her new family. She was welcomed during holidays and was never made to feel like an outsider by her other siblings. Her university was only a few hours away from her mother's home in Kiselyovsk, so Vera visited often, especially during the holidays. Her relationship with her mother, Oksana, was very close. They confided in each other about almost every aspect of their lives, which deepened their bond. In 2017, while visiting her mother's house, Vera attended a party at her friend's house. That's when she started getting close to one of her former classmates named Vladislav Konyas, or better known as Vlad. They became close and soon started dating. Vlad had a much more troubled family history. His mother left Vlad and his brother Stanislav to be raised by their father. But when Vlad's father was accused of theft, he ended his life with a hunting rifle. Vlad witnessed the traumatic event and it left a deep scar on his soul. Vlad dropped out of school after 9th grade and had no purpose whatsoever. He was known for his bad temper and physical aggression. Vlad was known to have a criminal record for robbery, excessive drinking, and was a bully. It was no surprise that Vera's parents disapproved of the relationship. Her father had pressured her to leave Vlad, while her mother believed that Vlad was only taking advantage of her. But Vera was convinced that she could change him, convinced that her love could soften his heart. Posting their photos on social media, the couple looked like a young couple in love. But cracks slowly formed deeper. In 2019, Vera moved into a flat near her university. Her parents helped pay the rent and soon after, Vlad moved in with her. That's when the dark side of their relationship began to emerge. Vlad refuses to help with housework, never gets a job, and spends his days drinking. Oksana senses danger, warning Vera over the phone that Vlad has been manipulating her. Her friends also said the same thing, telling Vera that Vlad was using her for financial support, but Vera didn't listen. She instead started hiding their relationship. Vlad stopped attending family gatherings, and Vera stopped posting photos of them together on social media. Vlad became her secret, a hidden part of her life that she tried to deal with on her own. Sometime in the fall of 2019, after arguing and being beaten up many times, Vera realized that Vlad would never change and decided to leave him. This greatly relieved her parents. Vera moves out of her own apartment with only a few essentials and moves into a university dormitory, while Vlad shamelessly stays in the apartment that Vera's parents pay rent for, even after Vera no longer lives there. Vlad did not agree to the separation and refused to accept the reality. He then told Stanislav, his brother, that Vera would stay with him or he would kill her. Unfortunately, Stanislav did not take this seriously and thought it was just a fit of emotion. For a few weeks later, Vera tried to make an appointment with Vlad to pick up the rest of her stuff. She had called many times but was ignored, or Vlad claimed to be busy. But suddenly Vlad called Vera on January 12, 2020 and arranged for her to pick up her stuff the next day. When later interrogated, Vlad said, "When I called Vera on January 12th, I offered to help her move the rest of her belongings to another apartment. Vera accepted the offer, We agreed that I would help her move tomorrow. On the afternoon of January 13th, Vera came around for 6 p.m. Then we packed her things and mine because I was also going to move out of that apartment. I didn't want to stay there without Vera. While packing, we drank alcohol. After that, I felt drunk and Vera was also drunk. We drank alcohol until about 5 a.m. on January 14th. At first, there was no conflict between us. But when I started talking about our relationship, suggesting that we get back together and telling her that I knew she was dating another man, a fight started between us. After that, Vera started cursing, insulting, hitting, kicking me at least 5 times in the groin area, and slapping my face at least 8 times with her palms. I didn't feel any pain when she slapped me. But when she kicked my groin, it made me angry. This version is what Vlad said, but it does not correspond to the facts of that night. This shows his lack of remorse and his inability to admit what he did. Vera actually had an exam the next day, so she wanted to pack her things as soon as possible. Vera asked a friend to meet her back at the dormitory at 6 p.m. to help her carry her things. When she was at the flat at 8 p.m., Vera left a voice message to her friend.
Так, Зай, ну смотри, я еще тут, я сейчас собираю вещи, блядь, нахуя всего. Ну, в принципе, смотри, я думаю, мне полчаса еще хватит. На такси я доеду, ну да, надеюсь, в 6 где-то я буду в общаге. Ну, я тебе, как и говорила, 6, вот прям 6:30. Я не знаю, ты можешь к 6, в принципе, подъехать и поможешь мне поднять, если что, все.
Then the second message sent Vera and Vlad were having a disagreement.
Нет, я тебе сразу говорю, что сюда никто не зайдет, и...
Я буду выходить.
Нет, Вер, все равно не надо, это то, что там человек будет тебя стоять, ждать, и там себе подобное.
А чё?
Ну, потому что...
Then the third message was sent in a soft voice, Vera said.
Кир, едь сюда.
Then the fourth message was sent.
Зай, короче, смотри, мне надо 30-40 минут. Ну, серьезно, просто вот по факту я смотрю на вещи, 30-40 минут, это
Короче,
прям
она тебе
максимум.
напишет, когда мы закончим. Все, пока,
Зай.
просто жди.
At 19 minutes past 19, the last voice message was sent. It was Vlad's own voice.
Кира, пожалуйста, я тебя прошу серьезно, отстань, отдохни пока что сейчас элементарно. Мне нужен этот человек в данный момент, и она со мной находится вместе. Мне это важно и нужно. Хватит, пожалуйста, не надо ни в чем помогать. Я и сам абсолютно во всем сегодня помогу. Просто уйди сегодня, пожалуйста.
Guess her friends seemed to believe that they were working things out. Only Vlad knows what happened over the next few hours. Then at 3 a.m. on January 14, 2020, Vera's desperate screams shattered the silence of the apartment block's corridor. At first, only the apartment next door came out to see what the commotion was. But soon all the residents of that floor gathered outside the apartment door and listened to the screams for help without being able to help. They then tried to call the police several times. Vlad never really meant to help Vera pack her things. It was nothing more than a ploy to get Vera back. Vlad offered Vera a beer and a bottle of vodka to drink with him, hoping that the alcohol would ease the tension between them. But it soon became clear that Vera had no plans to continue their relationship, and that's when things got out of hand. During interrogation, Vlad insisted that he had only hit Vera 4 times with the palm of his hand. He tried to explain that Vera's head hit the cupboard when she fell, but his reasons did not stop there. Vlad admitted to strangling her with the cable not to kill her, but only to silence her screams and make her pass out. But in fact, Vlad hit Vera more than 100 times and tortured her for 3.5 hours. She was beaten and kicked in the face and all over her body so that her nose and ribs were broken. Forensic experts later said that Vera had bruises, abrasions, cuts, and lacerations all over her body. She also experienced forced labor. On several occasions, Vera ran to the iron door, banging on it while screaming for help, but the neighbors could not break through the iron door. Vlad was heard pulling her back. Vlad stabbed Vera twice with his knife, but it was not enough to satisfy his anger. He took a sharper knife and stabbed her 5 more times slowly. Outside, the neighbors tried to find anything that could break through the iron door. Their panic grew every time they heard screams from inside the apartment. Can you imagine being so close to someone being brutally murdered? Hearing their dying screams, but there was nothing you could do outside the door. One of those who experienced it was Vlad's own brother, Stanislav. Vlad had spoken to him on the phone earlier and something in the conversation unsettled Stanislav enough to rush to the apartment. He knew they had to get the door open immediately. Over the course of 3.5 agonizing hours, the neighbors made 7 frantic calls to the police, while screams for help echoed in the hallway, mixed with the sound of Vera being beaten. At around 30 minutes past 6 in the morning, the witness said Vera, who was near the door, fell silent. Vlad's voice can be heard saying, "Vera, I'm sorry. I love you very much," then followed by a thud. Vlad had delivered the final fatal blow to the back of Vera's head, causing traumatic brain injury. Not finished there, Vlad then wrapped a cable around her neck and strangled her until she could not breathe. The autopsy results found that Vera had been killed not once, but 3 times. First by torture and stabbing, second by blows to the skull, and finally by strangulation. It was also proven that she had been beaten for 6 hours before she died. Moments after the last sound was heard, one of the neighbors found a metal crowbar in a nearby parking lot. They started trying to open the door and, after a while, they finally managed to force the metal door open. What they saw inside was a scene of horror. Blood was smeared on the walls, even on the ceiling. And on the floor lay Vera's lifeless body, which had been brutally murdered. In the bathroom, they found a drunk Vlad lying on the floor, a bloody kitchen knife still clutched in his hand. It was almost 7 a.m. when one of the shaken female neighbors made a final call to the police.
"Hello. We have called the emergency services since 1.5 hours ago, but until now no officer has come. We finally managed to force the door open ourselves, but the woman is already dead. What should we do?"
What happened to the woman?
"The woman is dead. We have been calling the emergency services for an hour and a half. The woman was screaming for help, but no one helped. Where are the police? Why are the emergency services in this country useless?"
Vlad tried to escape, but the neighbors stopped him. The police only came after Vera was dead. But why didn't they come when she was still alive? They had time to save her. The failure sparked national outrage across Russia. Footage from emergency operators was released showing them casually sipping tea, seemingly unfazed by the panicked calls from neighbors, while Vlad tortured Vera. The sergeant on duty that night, Major Mikhail Balashov, then 41, later claimed he had only one patrol car left, which he sent to check on an elderly man who had been found dead. Then, after the shift change, the chief in charge, 40-year-old senior duty officer Captain Dmitry Turitsyn, also received a call about Vera's situation, but the reason was that there was no petrol and no car available. However, the investigation revealed that the patrol car still had enough fuel. The saddest part of this tragedy is that Vera could have been saved. The negligence case was brought to court and the 3 operators who answered the call were charged with neglect of duty. They were found guilty, but their sentences were suspended for 1.5 to 2.5 years. None of them lost their jobs. Instead, they were only ordered to pay a small amount of compensation to Vera's family. Despite their guilt, they remained on duty. Justice did not seem to be served for the women there. After his arrest, Vlad said that he did not kill Vera and she was not dead. When interrogated and confronted with the facts, Vlad seemed to be more aware of what he had done. He said, "I don't remember how many times I hit her, but the number must be the same, as shown in the inquest report. I admit I caused all her injuries mentioned in the report. I wanted her to be quiet. I didn't think about her suffering. Vera was screaming and insulting me during our fight. I don't enjoy hitting her. When I hit her, I don't like her screaming. I want her to shut her mouth." At the funeral home, officers spent hours trying to make Vera's face look presentable, but her mother said she was unrecognizable. More than 1,000 people attended her funeral service in a small church, with many having to stand outside. In court, Vlad later said, "I apologize for what I have done. I do not deny that my actions caused Vera's death. I did not want to kill her. I want to apologize to Vera's family." On July 28, 2022, Vlad was sentenced to 17 years in prison and ordered to pay Vera's family around 500,000 rubles, $5,540 in compensation. That compensation will never be enough to cover the pain and brutality of the crimes he committed. But things got even worse. In April 2023, after spending only a few months in prison, Vlad was pardoned and went to fight on the front lines as a Russian soldier. After 6 months of serving as a soldier, he became a free man again. Vera's family found out when Vlad's photo went viral online. Vera's mother Oksana said, "My daughter is rotting in her grave. I have lost everything, my life, my hopes, everything. I am not really living, I just exist, and the perpetrator has been pardoned and is free from further punishment. His criminal record has also been cleared. This is just pushing me to a dead end. I don't know what to do next." That's all the story this time. Don't forget to click like, share, subscribe.